Welcome to day 10 of reviewing every single Star Wars movie. You know what that means. Day number 10. That means we are on to the second spin-off movie. The movie that not a single person on this planet had ever asked for, but Kathleen Kennedy said, hold my beer, I will make that film anyway. I am talking about Solo, a Star Wars story, the movie about Han Solo, a young Han Solo, a movie that when I say nobody wanted, I mean nobody wanted, which is why the movie did this at the box office. The worst performing Star Wars film in the modern era, and who could have thought? Who could have thought? But give some, respect where respect is due. This film just underperformed because The Last Jedi had just come out. That movie sucked. People were not excited about Star Wars anymore. Shit happens. So what is Solo, a Star Wars movie? Well, it's a film that's credited to be directed by Ron Howard, a director who is very, very good in Hollywood, but he's also a safe director. He's not a director that makes these big auteur-type movies. He makes very, very safe movies that usually do pretty well for the studios. He was not the man originally directing this movie. That was, in fact, Phil Lord and Christopher Miller, the guys behind the Lego movies, and of course, the Spider-Verse movies. Guys that understand, they understand how to make movies, guys. These are dudes that know how to make comedies and just know how to make high-energy films that end up really working, and they had pitched this movie, and they were filming it, but they had a lot of problems behind the scenes with Kathleen Kennedy, so they got dumped, and they brought in Ron Howard to make a very standard version of what they were trying to make. Now, this is a film that follows a very, very young Han Solo during the age of the Empire, and we follow him as he becomes sort of the scavenger, as he becomes sort of the scoundrel, the outlaw that we know him to be, as he meets up with his original crew, led by Woody Harrelson, and he goes on this weird crime adventure through space, has to do some heists, pulls off the Kessel Run, falls in love with a non-Leia chick, and does a bunch of other shenanigans. Does this movie work as a prequel, as a movie that nobody wanted? Does it end up being the disaster that everybody expected it to be? If I'm gonna be honest, no! Solo, a Star Wars movie, is a good movie. Is it a great movie? I wouldn't say that. Is it a great Star Wars movie? I don't really know. But is it probably the best or second best movie that Disney has made with this property? Easily, yeah. This movie has a lot going for it. It has a lot going for it, if I'm going to be completely honest with you. First off, Woody Harrelson in this movie, as this side character, as Tobias Beckett, is a very unique character. Woody Harrelson brings life to every single role that he plays, and this is no different. I also think Alden Ehrenreich, who plays Han Solo, whose career has taken a hit because of this movie, because people said, wow, that movie bombed with him playing Han Solo. We're never casting him as a lead ever again. What a shame. This guy's a great actor, and no, he is not Harrison Ford, but he still brings his own charm to this role. He's not trying to do a Harrison Ford impression. He is being himself while emulating what Han Solo is as a character, and I think he does a great job. He makes this movie fun to watch. This could have been a disaster with a different actor playing Han Solo, and instead it's very entertaining. He does enough with this character to make him still feel like Han Solo, but feel like you're watching something that's different enough to feel like its own thing. Emilia Clarke, and this was like the height of Game of Thrones and everything, she plays Kira, who is one of these outlaws. She's also the first lover of Han Solo, and she is also great. She's got this veil of mystery around her, this idea that she's in some deeper water than what even Han understands, and that is a theme throughout the film with her character that works really well, and she's always both with Han Solo but also contrasting Han Solo, and I enjoy it. Donald Glover as Lando. Amazing! How have they not done, a follow-up? I know there's supposed to be, a Lando show or movie being made at some point. He is great as Lando Calrissian, has so much charm, so much energy. It works! And Paul Bettany plays the villain, Dryden Voss. This might be my favorite Disney-made villain in the Star Wars universe that they've done. He is so good as the villain here. I mean, Paul Bettany's just a great actor, but he's kind of terrifying, but also hilarious to watch. He plays sort of like a mob boss in this universe. And I think in general, this whole idea of this, Star Wars story that's not about the Empire versus, the good guys. It's about these, bad guys fighting other bad guys. These dudes that are criminals fighting against, the mob of this universe. That is an interesting story, and one that for some reason they still haven't gone back to in this universe. The mob and the criminal side of the Star Wars universe is interesting. The underground universe. And I thought they were going to get into it in the Mandalorian show or the Boba Fett Mandalorian spinoff, and they ended up not really getting into it. This movie goes fully into it, and it's fascinating. The whole heist that they have to do that involves the Kessel Run, I thought was entertaining. I thought it was a lot of fun. There's a heist sequence early in the movie where they're robbing a train that I think is cool. Just as a whole, as I'm even talking about this movie right now, I like the movie even more. Just kind of, I'm talking myself into giving this like a higher rating than I was originally going to give it to. There's that weird Enfys Nest character that looks really cool, and I'm sure sold a bunch of toys. Doesn't really do much else in the movie. You get the relationship with Chewie and Solo in this movie, which I think works really, really well. You get a really good finale that is not just a gigantic action sequence, but more of a methodical character thing between Woody Harrelson and Han Solo that explains the who shot first thing from the original Star Wars film. They went out of their way to try to explain that, which they didn't really need to do. Of course, you get the great cameo at the end of the movie with Darth Maul that led to nothing, unfortunately, because yet again, this movie didn't do well, so Star Wars just gave it up, or Disney just gave it up. But this movie just does a lot that, like, is just good. It doesn't try being a nostalgia-based Star Wars movie that's kind of recreating elements from previous films, imagery from different films, themes from different films. It ends up just being a fun, outlaw sort of Western movie set in the Star Wars universe that brings us to locations we had never seen before, introduces us to a lot of characters around Han Solo that we've never seen before, this criminal element that felt original and cool. It had just a different kind of score to it, different kind of action sequences, and it's a film that as a whole, I just think kind of kicks ass and does not get enough credit. This is a film that people shit on, and I don't get why. This, to me, if Disney had gone ahead early on after purchasing Star Wars and had made more films like this, I think we would live in a very different world of Star Wars today. But instead, they made shit like The Last Jedi, and then eventually made shit like The Rise of Skywalker, and now we have this nonsense string of TV shows that are pretty much all terrible. But Solo is a good movie. Good enough that I'm going to give Solo a Star Wars Story a 4 out of 5. I think it is fantastic. But let me know what you guys think below. Make sure to like this video, subscribe for more, turn on notifications. I post every single day. I will see you guys tomorrow.